Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how you can create a backup of your MudPie Creations Church BookKeeper data, how you can restore your data, and also the process for moving your data from one computer to another. So let's first look at how to create a backup. There's two different ways that you can do this. So first thing you need to do is launch the Church BookKeeper application. Okay, and to create a backup, you can go to the Bookkeeper menu and choose Create Backup. And this will create the backup file for you. So when you press the OK button, it will launch a file window at the location where the backup file was created. Okay, let's close this and let me show you the other way that you can create a backup file. You may have noticed that when you um, choose to close the Bookkeeper application with either the X button or from the Bookkeeper exit menu, you'll be prompted to create a backup. So if you choose yes, then just like when we chose backup from the Bookkeeper menu, it will create a backup file for you, and pressing OK will launch a window where the backup was created. Okay, so as you can see now, we have an MPC back file. Um, this file is something that only the Church BookKeeper app can read. So many people think that if they choose open with and maybe try to open it up with Notepad, that they'll be able to see their data to verify that it's there. But as you can see, this is a binary file. It's not human readable. And so it's not something that you should try to open and read. It's also not something that you can click on and then launch the Church BookKeeper app. This file is just your data, and I'm going to show you how you can restore that in the next step. So the first thing you should do is you should make sure that you're creating regular backups. So every time, it's just a good um, rule of thumb that every time that you run the Church BookKeeper app and you record some additional contributions, when you're finished and you're closing the app, just choose yes and let it create a new backup file for you. So that way you know that if there's a hardware failure or anything happens, that your data is backed up. So the next thing you should do is you should invest in a USB drive that will allow you to move this file to um, off of your computer. So in case your computer has a hard drive failure or some other kind of hardware issue, your data will be safe. So I have a USB drive that's plugged in. So I'm going to go to File Explorer, and it is Drive E. So your drive letter may be different. It just depends on the make and model of the USB drive that you've purchased. So it may be drive E or drive F. So just go to this PC and um, find the USB drive. So next you'll um, click on the MPC back file to select it, and then you'll just drag it over using your mouse to the USB drive. So if you wanted to, you could create a folder here. You could say my church bookkeeper backups if you had other files that you wanted to keep on that, and then you could drag that into the folder. Okay, so now it's safe and secure. You should always make sure that you eject your USB drive um, so that uh, it, so that you're not just unplugging the drive. That's bad for the drive. Okay, so now let's go through the scenario where you want to restore your data. The only time that you would want to restore your data is if you are recovering from a catastrophic hardware failure, or if you've purchased a new computer and you want to move your data from the old computer to the new one. So the first thing that you would do in both of those situations is you would use your original Church BookKeeper CD or your download file, and you would install Church BookKeeper. And so I have Church BookKeeper installed. I've entered the activation code, and as you can see, I have no contributors or contributions here because it's a fresh install. Okay, so the first thing I would do is I would go to the Bookkeeper menu and I would choose Open Backup Location. And this is a file window and there's nothing in it. So next you would go to a file window. You can go to File Explorer here, or most Windows installations has a folder here at the bottom, and you can say File Explorer. And so then you would navigate to your USB drive. So if you click on that, here is the file folder that I made previously when we did the backup. So you would just locate your MPC back file, and you can verify that the date and time looks correct. You know, if you've been making multiple backups and maybe storing different versions, you want to make sure that it's the most recent one. So this one has today's date, so I know that that's the latest one. Okay, so I'm going to then drag this MPC back file to the file window that opened when I chose Open Backup Location from the menu. So I'm going to drag it over there, and now my file's there. So I can close both of these file windows now. And now I just choose Bookkeeper and Restore Backup. So you'll be warned that this is going to overwrite any data. So you need to be very careful. If you've entered any contributions, then whatever's in your backup file is going to overwrite that. It's just like if you were overwriting a file on your computer. All of the data that's currently in this Church BookKeeper is going to be overwritten by the contents in that backup file. So just make sure that you want to restore the data. So next you would choose the Restore Database button. And it says it's successfully restored. And then the app just needs to restart. So we're going to choose OK. And we're going to double click on the icon again. And so now when I go into the record contribution screen, you can see that my fictitious data is here. Okay, so let's look at one more scenario that is pretty common. Okay, in this scenario, let's say that you not only purchased a new computer, but you've also upgraded your Church BookKeeper application to the latest version. And so you have an older, you have a backup from the older version of the Church BookKeeper app, and you want to restore it onto your new computer that has the latest version of Church BookKeeper. So the first thing you would do is you would use the CD or the download file for the newest version of Church BookKeeper that you've just purchased. And so when you launch it for the first time, after you put in your activation code, you'll see that if you go to the record contribution screen, your data is not there. And so we're now going to restore your data from an old version of Bookkeeper. So the first thing you should do is you should connect your USB drive that contains the data that you've backed up from your older version. So go to File Explorer and navigate to the USB drive. And so here I have a backup. You can see it's very old. It's from 2013. All right, so I'm going to go to the Bookkeeper menu, and I'm going to choose Open Backup Location. Okay, and then I will move the MPC back file to that backup folder. So now it's there. I can close the USB drive file window and also the backup file window. So now I'm going to choose Restore Backup. It's going to warn me that it's going to overwrite any data, so I'm going to make sure that that's what I want to do. So I'm going to choose Restore Database, and it was successful, so I'm going to choose OK, and it closed the Church BookKeeper app. So I will launch it again, and this time there's a database mismatch error. And let's just take a look at what it says. It says the Church BookKeeper application is expecting database version 2.106. That may be a different number from what you see, but the database version is, and it's a lower version number. So, then it tells you what you need to do. It says, have you recently restored an older version of the database from a backup? So yes, we just did that. If so, please run the most recent Church BookKeeper install to update your database. Okay, so if we choose OK, then you can see that everything is disabled. Only the Bookkeeper and the Help menus are available. So we just need to run the Church BookKeeper install so that our data that we've just restored gets updated to the newest version. So we're going to choose to close the Church BookKeeper app. And so then if you've purchased the software on a CD, you can put in your CD, go to File Explorer, navigate to the CD, and then you would run the setup application. Make sure the type is application, and you would double click on that, and that would launch the install. If you purchase the software as a download file, you would go to File Explorer, and then you would go to your local disk C, go to Program Files x86, set up Bookkeeper. And so all of the files from when you originally installed Church BookKeeper are here in this folder. So there's no need to download the software again once you've installed it once. All your files are here. So double click on the Setup application, choose Yes to allow changes to be made, and we're going to choose the Repair option. It's warning us that we need to make a backup, which we've already restored our backup, so we could just choose Yes, and then we're going to make sure Repair is selected. So next we're going to choose the Next button, and this will be a very quick install because it's just going to update our database. Okay, and now it's finished. So I'm going to choose the Finish button, and I can close this window. So now when I launch the Church BookKeeper application, you can see that everything is now available. And if I go to Record Contributions, my data is now there.